Hi, Gilles. Today I would like to talk to you about institutions. Many of us have lost faith in them. In any case, there are increasing complaints that government agencies and authorities can no longer be relied upon, that kindergartens and schools, for example, or public television and radio are no longer trustworthy. What is going on here?
The concept of institution, if you consider its Latin origin, it actually means something like disposition or arrangement, but also instruction or education. In modern languages, it became synonymous with the act of establishing founding a system of government or a religious order, and even later with anything that has been around for a long time. So, in this sense, philosophy is an institution, the university is an institution, even Deleuze is an institution.
But what do you think of the term today? Is it still useful?
That really depends. It's been a long time since I dealt with the concept. In 1955, I edited a small volume on instincts and institutions for Georges Canguilhem, by the way, with short texts by sociologists, biologists, and psychologists. So Maurice Alvax, for example, Karl Marx, Darwin, but also Wolfgang Goeller and Mathilde Ertz. In the introduction, I defined the institution as an organized system of means.
But that remains very abstract.
What I meant was that institutions are media. On the one hand, they are milieus or environments that people create in order to respond to certain social or cultural demands. And on the other hand, means or tools that they use together to then be able to work out their responses in concrete terms. It is precisely in this sense that I define institutions as artificial means of satisfaction, which liberate an organism from nature, though they subject it to something else, transforming tendencies by introducing them into a new milieu.
I think you need to explain that in more detail.
Well, I had agreed with Canguilhem not to narrow the discussion down to a sociological concept of institution. That's why we focused on the relationship between institution and instinct, demand and desire. Basically, it's simple. You just have to understand institution as the opposite of law. Law is a limitation of actions. Institution, a positive model for action.
I guess I don't understand. Are you saying then that everything is just fine with the university, the church, and television?
On the contrary, I want to remind people of the purposes that institutions serve, or more precisely, the drives and desires they respond to, or should respond to, in order to realign them with these.
In other words, you suggest not embarking on a long march through the institutions without ever changing them, but also not simply abolishing them, as neoliberalism or right-wing populism are currently demanding. You want us to insist on the importance of institutions as a means and a milieu to work with them so as to actively change them?
What we need is a kind of therapy of the institutions, a confirmation and reinforcement that is also a renewal, a fortification that is also an opening, a renewed reception of those for whom the institutions are there. But, you know, it is a topic that Felix knows much more about than I do. He was very active in a movement called institutional psychotherapy.
Then I'll ask him about it. Anyway, thank you very much for now. Oh, hello, Felix. I was just talking to Gilles about the concept of the institution, and he said you could tell me a thing or two about it. Institutional psychotherapy and so on.
Institutions? Oh, not now, please. You see, I just come from the National Puppet Employment Agency, and they actually refused to renew my work permit. Apparently, some forms are still missing.
Oh dear, I see. Maybe another time then.